Hello guys, how's it going? It's me, Yoko from Japan. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm live from Fukuoka Prefecture, Japan. Getting kind of sunny. I came here instead of like I usually have, the world map behind me, but I thought that like it's so like dark there, so I thought I would come out. So, hey guys, already 14 people watching now. So thank you for coming out. How are you guys doing? Is the audio good enough? Because the casitas are so loud outside. Hello, Waylon. I hope everything is good. In the meantime, I wait for everybody to join. Here is Sankei Shiban from yesterday. Look at Pompeo. Can you see? It's the front page. This is like bam. Can you see? It's as big as like pew, and then I think it goes to the like right here too. It's huge, man. It says versus it's English. Communist China, America's determination. And Pompeo is here. So basically talking about the speech that he gave. I haven't actually read the whole thing yet, but I'm willing to. And they even have like the chronological things here too. So it's cool. Anyway, yay, I see comments. It's so hot here, by the way. It started to get really hot. Hello, Yoko-san. Hello. Hello from California. Yay! Yoko senpai. Yeah, California. Lots of Californians. Maxwell. Is that like Clinton thing? There are like so many things to keep up with in the US. And especially, I still haven't read about Obamagate enough. And it's something that I really need to, get information of. And I had some information sent over from my American friends, but man, that's like you have to follow all the chronological things. So I've been like, postponing. But watching from Australia, wow, thank you. It's cool. We are pretty much in the same time zone, right? In Australia, it's around, it's noon here in Japan. Yeah, I need to check these out. Yeah. And are people still talking about Russiagate? Because, it's so interesting, like, right when we were going to expose Obamagate, this COVID-19 happened, and it's like, I'm pretty sure that Obama is like, whew, like I'm safe now, like I'm good for now, and he's kind of relaxed and he can focus his energy on like attacking Trump and so on. And yeah, I feel like we lost the good timing. And by the way, it's July, right? It's like later July, and this is around the time that Japan was supposed to be hosting the Olympics this year, but it's gone. Thank you, China. The CCP virus, man. Okay. What is the reason I'm gonna read the question from you guys. What is the reason you talk about politics to a Japanese audience? To a Japanese audience? I'm an activist. But beyond that, I think the person you're asking me about the motivation of mine to talk about politics and being engaged. I don't actually know why. I just am passionate, and I just think like, oh, bruh. I just think that like I can't help it. I find myself doing something for my country because I don't know how Japan is seen from overseas, but our country is in a huge problem. And you see all this things happening in the US now against China. I saw this consulate in Houston getting closed by the government, and it's a great movement, and I really support that from Japan. But China is really good at all the maneuvers that they are conducting, and Japan is not an exception. We are collapsing from the inside, legally. Our politicians are connected with China, and there are lots of pro-China people among the National Diet members, and there are spies everywhere. And nowadays they even have Twitter accounts, speaking Japanese and pretending to be Japanese, and trying to divide us, especially towards the problem. One good example is when we talk about Hong Kong. There are obvious Chinese accounts that are speaking Japanese, and we are very cautious. But and at the same time, Japan has the territorial disputes with China, and I'm pretty sure you heard of Senkaku Islands issue from me. But Senkaku Islands belong to Japan and part of Okinawa Prefecture, so it's in the south, right? And close to Taiwan, kind of. And China has been invading into our waters surrounding the island. And I think recently it hit 100 days in a row that Chinese vessels, it's a national one, that they say it's just a usual vessels, ships, and a normal, a patrol ships. But in reality, one of them always has a cannon to attack us, and it's it's obvious that their military is coming, and they've been coming every single day in a row, and we are almost certain that they're going to take our islands very soon, and people know it here, but the government is not doing anything. And at the same time, because Prime Minister Abe is supposed to be, conservative, we can't really attack him. It's just you guys have President Trump, and that's pretty much the same here in Japan. That Prime Minister Abe is the best that we can get, and still we are getting invaded, and we don't know what to do, and only time keeps passing by. So yeah. In the meantime, I rambled. I see lots of comments from you guys, so thank you. How do Japanese fight against communism? By election. The fortunate thing about Japan is that our election system is so strict and fair, and Japan it works in a good way and bad way also. But Japan is such a country that obeys rules and manuals, that we always follow what's given to us. And so the election, you can never do a fraud thing, even though there are some cases that people pointed out that there must have been some kind of fraud going on. But basically, you can't do anything, But if you look at, for example, in South Korea, the box of vote, they write on the paper, right? The box is torn, there's a hole and so on, and that you can tell that people touched the voting papers or replacing that and so on. So that happens in South Korea, and I'm pretty sure that things like that happen in the US. And I don't know your system well, but I've heard a rumor that this coming election, that the Democratic Party side is considering the change of voting system, right? You mail it or something, and that's something that I'm very worried about from here, because it's really easy to manipulate. And what I can tell from Japan is that even though the noisy minority are really loud in the US, I know at the same time that people are not that stupid in America. The silent majority, as President Trump says, is very strong and wise, I think. So I'm not too worried about the public opinion yet. I'm worried about the election, But so Japanese people I think we just don't like communism. That like Japanese communist, like we have the Japanese Communist Party, right? But like they're so like such a liar. We know it. So they just say things that they don't mean, and we can tell. So the only time they get votes is when we say no to our current administration, and they don't have any support from us. So I'm not too worried about it. But what I'm worried about is Chinese invasion. Yeah. Oh, super chat. Where is super chat? Oh, but thank you. Do you think Japan should have a second amendment? Ooh, like to protect ourselves? Oh, why? I'm gonna ask my husband. 修正第2条やったっけ？修正第2条、銃？銃を持つ権利ってこと？ない。誰ももう右も左も誰も希望してない。My husband said that nobody from like both the right side and left side want that, like Second Amendment. Nobody insists stuff like that. We don't need weapons in Japan. I mean, it'd be kind of cool. But yeah, we never hear. 400年. So 400 years ago, samurais, samurais with the swords, all the swords were taken away. So, except for samurais. Sorry for that correction. Except for samurais, 400 years ago, everybody had to let go of their swords that they had. Like, farmers and so on even had their swords, but they had to let them go 400 years ago. And for samurais, it's 150 years ago that they have swords, and it was their pride and their job and everything. But they had to let go of that 150 years ago. And since then, we are weapons free. And but what's funny is that when we don't have swords, we have knives. Like lots of stabbing happening here, and sometimes even like vicious people would run people over and so on in the city, for example, or some people poison others. Like there was this huge controversial case where it's kind of a long time ago, decades ago, but at the local festival, this woman put poison in the curry that the local community was offering. So people got poisoned, and I believe people died. So that kind of things happened. So yeah, but I'm pretty sure that the person Weeby is talking about the protection, right? But I don't feel the need right now. We are Japanese. The thing about Japan is that our pressure, like social pressure, is so strong that itself is like a weapon. And it's I don't know, our community is so weird. Oh, Prince Everlove, thank you for your super chat. Cool sunglasses. And where should I start reading the comments? Maybe I should keep up here. Yakuza gangsters have guns? Yes. I don't know where they're coming from. どっから来るんだろう、銃。He said maybe coming from Russia and so on. But Yakuza people are like Yakuza is our mafia type of thing, right? But and they have guns and they have like a grenade, like they throw and explode. So in my prefecture, actually, the Yakuza gangsters are kind of active. So we sometimes find like bombs and so on, but we're like, meh, it's just another day, and we don't care. But the good thing about our, Yakuza is that they are, even though they are very violent and so on, and sometimes they do cause problems, they're just fighting inside of their community, if that makes sense. So like they make it a rule that, like, I don't know if it's like they are making it a rule or it just naturally happens, but usually it's their problem and they don't interfere with our everyday life. Sorry, my throat gets really weird. Where? Ooh, don't know. Oh. Yoko, what do you think about Trump shutting down the Chinese consulate in Houston? Does China have offices in Japan? Do you worry about them spying on Japan? I mentioned briefly at the beginning, but I think it's a great thing that he's shutting down the Chinese consulate in Houston. Yes, and in my prefecture, there's a consulate of China too. So sometimes we go in front of that consulate and say like, we protest there sometimes. And of course, there's a embassy in Tokyo, right? So, and what do you worry about them spying on Japan? Yes, we are worried. Like, as I said, they take the advantage of every organization or every outlet that they have. So like, I was reading the news related to the shutdown of the consulate in Houston, and in those articles, they said that, the diplomats of China are working as spies, and that's exactly what the situation is like right now. And I'm pretty sure that it's not just America and that's their tactic in elsewhere. So yeah, of course I'm worried about Japan, but at the same time, physical invasion is happening, and also the national diet is not functioning very well. So I feel like we have bigger problems than that. I mean, it's related to though, but thank you, Jacob, for your super chat. Do you think Japan will increase its military power in order to confront China? I want my country to increase our power, like defense power, but I don't know how actually. Conservative people want to revise our constitution that's binding our military power. All we can have right now is self-defense force, so we can't go into wars, so we can only defend. And all the defense system that we have here in Japan are so passive, and often we discuss about like attack first ability. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm darkly translating, but we don't have the ability to attack first, or because it's not allowed. So that's something that we're discussing now to have. Like, it works as deterrent, and we want that. But leftists are so strong with public opinion, so we're having a hard time with that. And at the same time, they're probably not with Prime Minister Abe's administration anymore because we don't have time. But we did talk about, revising our constitution. But again, in the post-war regime in which we are living in right now in Japan, it's pretty impossible to revise that, like system-wise. Like that's how our constitution was written, that we have to get lots of support to revise that. And at the same time, realistically speaking, what we can do is to raise our defense budget, but our economy is declining like so heavily, and companies are collapsing, and people are jobless, and they're getting fired, and CCP has caused so much damage to our economy. So I don't know, man. We want to raise our defense budget at least, but that's the struggle that we are having right now. Oh, another super chat. Thank you. Rented Identity. Interesting name. Can you still smoke inside bars in your prefecture? Can we?
広さによって制限がある。小さな居酒屋は多分吸っていいけど、
でっかいとこがダメなのか。よくわかんない。Maybe the system is that it depends on the space that you have in a store, or like bars and so on, and that if it's tiny, then you may be able to, but in bigger spaces, you're like the bars and so on are supposed to have like a smoking section, like separately and so on, and yeah.
吸わないからね、あんまり細かいこと気にしてなかったっていう。
Neither of us, like my husband and I, do not smoke, so we our attention doesn't go there, so we're not too familiar. But what I see is that people are walking outside like on the street and smoking like while walking, and then like throw it away on the street, and I'm like like take that away, Theo, even Japanese people are supposed to be like good manner and polite and everything. No, some people are not. So thank you for the question. Oh? Oh, Nate, yeah, I keep missing your my husband told me that I kept missing your question, Nate. So here it goes. Yoko, do you still hate the Washington Post? So the story is that a few years ago, or several years ago, I was kind of attacked by Washington Post. And basically the article was talking about South Korean, like a so-called comfort women issue. And the writer mentioned there are Japanese right wings and that are being racist and so on, and I was one of them that was name called by the Washington Post. And there's Yoko singing about this and that, and I got criticized as a right wing while I'm a conservative, and that's a small difference. But anyway, yeah, so Washington Post. But my understanding is that it's the problem of the writer, Anna Fifield, I think was her name, Anna. And she's a bit older woman, and she's supposed to be in charge of Asian matters. And oh man, those writers pretend to know a lot about Japan, and they're not conveying the real voice. What they say is just what they want to say, and it's not like journalism, it's about what, rather than journalism, what Washington Post, at least for my article that she wrote, it was just opinion, so there's a huge difference, and I want them to make it clear. And and do I still hate Washington Post? It's rather that I think of American media as left bias, almost all of them, right? Like mainstream media, And Fox News seems to be kind of neutral, but I don't even know if they are conservative or whatever. They're just a good media, I think. But I hear that the owner changed or something, so I'm a little worried, but so I don't know. It's like when I look at the media, I look at the writers, and sometimes there are writers that are actually good, even inside of CNN and so on. That so I try not to judge, and I still want to get information, you know, and sometimes, especially on human rights issues, liberals are good at that. So like depending on the topic and so on, I make sure that I catch information from the right source.
みんなレフティストって書いてる。
Yeah. Washington Post is leftist. That's good that we agree on everything here. Yeah. Okay, let's read more. Washington Post is filled with socialist Koreans and socialist Americans. Yeah, no surprise. Anti-Japan hate propaganda is being spread online. Yeah, it's the information war. What sucks about Japan is that we don't speak English, and that's been like the language barrier has been our huge problem. You know, all these other countries, like in other countries, people have a basic understanding of English, and we here in Japan do learn English in school, but it's for like entrance exams of high school or university, and it's not on a conversational level or like the reading and so on too. Like the grammars can be a little different from like daily use. So people here don't speak English like I do because I'm a weirdo. And so that has been a problem, you know, in like on information war. So Japanese people are actually very like hostile in a way that we are very feisty and very determined to protect our nation. But the thing is that people don't speak English. Like I'm the only person, like only conservative in Japan, in entire Japan. I'm the only conservative that is speaking like this to spread, you know, our information overseas in English. And other people are just talking to the domestic community. And so, yeah, that's how rare that is. I'm not complaining though. It's so cool to cultivate this, you know.
6、7人の人が、フォックスのタッカー・カールソンの素晴らしい書いてるね。
Oh, yeah.
何人も
You guys love Tucker Carlson. Tucker. I asked on Twitter what, like, if there's any difference between Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson, and I think the summary of what you guys told me was that, you know, Sean Hannity is more of like a corporate person, and he's not good enough, and that and Tucker Carlson has like he's not afraid, and he's stating his mind and so on, and so that's interesting. Like from a what you call glimpse, like if you have just take a look, like roughly, then especially from outside, like English being my second language, I can't really tell, but it's interesting that like it's such a good information that you guys are giving there, that Tucker Carlson is good. Yeah, he's the best conservative show. Huh, interesting. I should watch. What about Laura Ingraham? My American friend told me a few years ago, like I asked like who is good to listen to, and the person said Laura Ingraham, and I'm paying attention more to her. But I'll start listening to Tucker Carlson then. He's so sexy. That's interesting. Carlson 2024. That's interesting. Yeah. Tucker speaks for the people like Trump. Huh. Do you think that he will stay as a comment, like a news person, or do you think he will try to become like a politician or the president and so on? Like, I wonder what it's like. Oh, Michael Savage is good. I was listening to his radio back in 2016 because I don't know where I learned about him. Maybe from my, like, this guy that I used to like, that used to kind of mentor me, or maybe somebody else from America. But Michael Savage is so good. Yeah. Oh, she's good too, Laura Ingram. That's good. Yoko, do you know what the violent crime rate amongst non-Japanese in Japan is? I hear that's higher. Like, you know, the racism controversy actually exists in Japan, and it's with South Koreans here in Japan. That it's less. I think the number is declining a little bit, but like 500,000? 1,000,000. Yeah, 500K or so South Koreans living here, and the percentage is very, like, not very high, but still there are like human rights issues and so on. But at the same time, Japanese, especially right wings, are really angry at South Koreans in general. Like, they're kind of racist, you know. And like, there's even a group of people that say, like, you know, all South Koreans should die or something, and that I don't agree with that. You know, like, you shouldn't discriminate South Koreans like that. But I can see where the anger is coming from, though, because we see on the news that, you know, there are, like, you know, hate crime happens, you know, from South Koreans against Japanese. And I remember this very symbolic case in Osaka Prefecture, where this South Korean guy killed 2 people. I think that was 2 people. Yeah, like, stabbed those people, like random strangers on the street, and stabbed them to death. And he got caught, but he said that he wanted to kill, like, genuine Japanese. Like, totally racism, right? So that kind of stuff happens, but not so often. But crimes in general, like, especially like cyber crimes and so on, like, you know, internet banking and so on, and cyber attacks, or like imports and so on, like gold coming from South Korea and so on. So that sort of crimes get reported on the news, and then sometimes, or often, they don't report the real name. So they have this name, like, Koreans have this, like, a Japanese sounding name instead of, like, they can use both their original name and the Japanese version. And when the mainstream media here reports the crimes by them, they report by their Japanese name. So we can't tell if the person is Japanese or South Korean. So some, you know, many conservative people or right-wing people get angry with that, you know, because it's like we're bashed, you know, like, we look at all these people in Japan as Japanese, and when we see the Japanese name popping up on the news, we assume that those people are Japanese, but in reality, those are not Japanese people sometimes. And I'm not saying, though, that, you know, here's the tricky part, that seeing that sort of thing happening on TV, people assume that that's ongoing all the time, and that they generalize the idea, so that leads to racism. So people need to calm down a little bit. You know, I was almost getting trapped by that myself, so I know how it goes. But yeah, anyway. Oh, Bruce, thank you for your super chat. The Japanese military is actually quite strong. Go to globalfirepower.com. Ooh. What is that? Does that, like, compare the power or something? Let's go. Yeah, I mean, our level of military side, our level is really high. We have technology, and we have really wise people here. The only problem is our system. So it's often said that we could actually make a nuclear weapon if we wanted to. Like a lot of people point that out. Like we have the technology, but do we want to? Is the discussion. So yeah. But the thing is, though, that I think America kind of fears us, though. Still, like even though Japan is such a great alliance nation of the U.S. I don't know. I mean, Trump administration would want us to have the military and just be a normal nation with a military force, but like past generations didn't want us to get armed because they thought that we were threatening, and I think that problem will just continues in the future too. But then other small countries have nuclear weapons too. So, meh. I mean, another question: rented identity. Should Japan have nukes? In my opinion, I believe we should, but I don't. It kind of depends. I feel like there are. I think we should, but what should we have first? Like realistically speaking, it's like whenever I think about nuclear weapons, I'm like, that's like jumping too much. Like we don't even have the military. Yes, we do have technology, we have people, and we meet all the standards and so on, but we don't even have the military officially. And we are talking about nuclear weapons, which is kind of a tough thing in the world to be allowed to have. So every time I think about nuclear weapons, I kind of stop myself there to be realistic. Is Kyushu still considered the most patriotic, nationalistic part of Japan? Oh, I don't know, man. I'm from here, Kyushu Island, like the southern island, and we have lots of like famous ancestors that devoted their lives for our country, and usually all the like major moves come from Kyushu Island. So I'm proud of that, and being born here and raised, like coming from Kyushu Island, I'm pretty biased there. Like I'm so patriotic of my own like region. So I can't really give you the objective answer to that. I want to believe so, that our island is like the most patriotic one. Yeah. I think what differentiates is that we are more passionate and like really, really like hot, inside. Like we are burning, and so like rah, rah, so like warrior type. And elsewhere in other regions, people are more logical. I feel we're more emotional. I feel. Justin says the CCP has nukes, so Japan needs them too. Thank you. That's very true. You know what the leftists here say? So China has nuclear weapons, or North Korea is even developing. And the nuclear weapons of China. Leftists here say that the nuclear weapons in China are beautiful. And if Japanese have nuclear weapons, that's like evil. They're openly biased and say like, oh, China is beautiful, and that's what they say. And I don't know how that works. Like they're so patriotic of China, and I don't know why they are living in Japan. Honestly. So okay, let's go more. Japan should ally with India to contain China. I agree, Jacob. Yes. And I think our strategy that Prime Minister Abe announced. It's called Free and Open Indo-Pacific Strategy, I believe. What it's called. So it's India and all the Indo-Pacific area, against China, and we're alliances protect each of our nations. And I think it's in place, that it's according to the strategy. Trump administration agreed to that strategy, and we are sharing that like in each of our nation, and we're working together. So that's really good.
じゃあ、これからみんなに聞いてみてほしい。
Oh, my husband said he has a question for you guys. Hold on.
2024年を誰が大統領に出てほしい。
So in coming 2024, who do you want the president to be, or who do you want to run for the election, the presidential election after this one? Who do you think?
例えば、ペンスとかね。
Mike Pence or
ニッキー・ヘイリー。
Oh, Nikki Haley?
ヘンリー。
He?
ニッキー・ヘンリー。
Henry か。Henry. Oh, interesting. Tucker Carlson, Pence. Pompeo? Tucker Carlson, Pence, Tucker Carlson, Mike P, Tucker Carlson, Bolsonaro. Oh man, I don't know the person. Donald Trump Jr. Oh yeah, Pompeo, Ted Cruz. Oh, Kanye. Trump Jr., Tucker Carlson, Ted, Tucker Carlson, Nikki Haley. So funny. Huh. But we've got, that's in Brazil. Interesting. Junior. Interesting. So what you said just now are Tucker Carlson, Mike Pence, and Donald Trump Jr., Ted Cruz. Yeah. Not Nikki Haley. Why? Candace Owens. Isn't she like too young? I don't know. I was gonna say something and I forgot. Oh, so not Pompeo? How is Mike Pompeo seen in the U.S.? Interesting question. Answers, guys. Yoko is not running, man. Warmonger. Nikki Haley. Is she like a neocon type, or it's just wars, or Alex Jones? Nostalgic guy. Where is Alex Jones? Is he still around? Like, he got kicked off from YouTube, right? I was actually watching a lot of his stuff back in 2016. 好戦的. Oh, I see. Pompeo, he's a neocon. Oh, kind of like Bolton. Pompeo is CIA. Interesting. General Michael Flynn.
テッド・クルーズはいいんだ。テッド・クルーズとルビオって違うの？
What's the difference between Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio? This Q&A has reversed. I'm asking you guys questions. In the meantime, Justin asks, why is Japan and the CCP fighting over the Senkaku Islands? Also, what do you think of the CCP developing aircraft carriers? Why are we having the territorial disputes? Is that Senkaku Islands they belong to Japan, since a long time ago. It's been Japanese territory, but China made up some fabrication and they claim that those islands belong to them. and those are all like BS, like a bunch of lies and not based on any document or whatsoever. And there are lots of documents from like a long time ago showing it that those islands belong to Japan, and China just one-sidedly keeps lying because they want the island so bad, like geographically, and also they have this strategy to expand their territory even up to Hawaii. Right? So they want to conquer the world still, like they are living in the colonization era type way of thinking. So Ted Cruz is better than Marco Rubio. Ted is more America first. Ted Cruz is more conservative. Interesting. And let me read more. Cruz is a little better when it comes to immigration issues. China is claiming everything. Yeah. CCP lies all day long. Yes. What? China lying? I'm shocked. Yeah, right? Little Marco wants to flood America with illegals. So it's mostly the immigrant policy. Interesting. Ted was born in Canada? What? Really? Never saw that before. Vox Day? Never seen that. But maybe you guys mentioned that before. Another question. Why old Japanese people hate gaijins? Old people hate gaijins? Do they? There are lots of different kinds of like older generations here, and some people do like discriminate foreigners, I think, like especially like white people. And why is that? I don't know, maybe because of the war, or just I'm pretty sure that it's coming from like more of a social problems that you see on the news than personal problems, because that's where racism comes from. And at the same time, though, there are lots of older generation people that love foreigners or foreign culture. It's rather a problem that they're not proud of our own culture, and they like to travel and they like to decorate their houses like Western style, and our culture is lost in that generation in a way. So like there are like different kinds of people, I would say. Boxey is a great science fiction writer. Oh, I see. I lived in Japan. Hate is too strong a word for Japanese feelings about foreigners. You may be right. Yeah, it's not like, I think it's just that, we are not used to foreigners. Like nowadays we have more and more foreigners living here and like traveling here and so on. But like normal Japanese people don't even speak English, and also like they've never even had a conversation with foreigners, right? So I think that it's like just a natural human nature, yeah, to try to be defensive. Oh, LD, thank you so much for your super chat. Oh, rented identity. Do you play any video games? No. Unfortunately, no. I want to play video games. Do you want to send me to send me. Like, I don't have any machine, you know. All I have is this laptop now. So, yeah. I used to play Left 4 Dead, but that's about it. And last week, I couldn't remember the name of the game that I have on my phone, and that is Avakin Life. I know it's lame, but it's for like teenage girls, I believe. But like it's a simulation game. And I used to play a bit of Second Life. Second Life on computer. It's so sexual there though, so I kind of quit. But I really like simulation games. So yeah, I want to play video games, but it's expensive even to have video games. And thank you, LD, again for your super chat. Favorite Left 4 Dead character, Francis? I'm so like, I have like a white complex, so I always picked Zoe, the white girl. Like I believe that's the previous one, Left 4 Dead, just original one, and the second one, Left 4 Dead 2, has the black lady, right? If I remember correctly. But I usually pick Zoe, but oftentimes it's taken by guys. So I'm like, why guys are playing as a female? Like, meh. Yeah. Shinzo Abe should make Yoko Japanese ambassador to the US. Well, thank you. Yeah. I wish that our ambassadors would be as passionate about America as I am, really. Like you guys have no idea how much I love America and American culture. Like, you know, some of the American culture, of course, is influenced by liberal idea even, but still I'm like, America. And still though, like, and because of that, because I love America so much, people get a wrong idea that I'm a wannabe of America. You know, that's something that I've been realizing lately, that all these haters attack me because they somehow assume that I want to, like, they believe that I want to become an American, or that I'm Japanese American or something like that. I'm like, no, I'm a patriotic Japanese in Japan. And like, they have no idea how the world works, you know? Like, I wish I could show you guys how much Japanese people are so like confident to have the alliance which we have with you guys. That's the backbone of our security. So like, even though we as a nation comes in like the third place in the world, like GDP wise, you know, because we're together with America, we're like, yeah, we are strong too, you know. That's what happens in alliance. So that's kind of funny, but yeah. Yoko, does Omu Shinrikyo still exist? I think they changed their name or branched out, and yeah, there are some people from there still, I think. Is there flooding in Japan right now? No, not that I know of. Like, it says like the weather report here has been awful. That they say like, there's the 19% of heavy rain tomorrow, and it's sunny the next day. And it's been like that like the whole, I don't know, like 2 weeks or so, and we're like, nah, we don't believe weather reports anymore. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Rebel. Yoko, you might like Shogun Total War. It is a PC game. Whoa, you can buy it on Steam. Yay! You rule a part of feudal Japan and conquer other areas and command armies on the battlefields. It is a lot of fun. Wow. Sounds like lots of strategy needed. I don't know if I'm smart enough to play that sort of games, but I should check that out. I'm pretty sure that my husband would like it. My husband is like such a strategic person and always thinking about like in all these battles. Like he loves what's called Game of Thrones. Yeah, I gave up Game of Thrones in like 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes. I tried twice to watch that because everybody loves that, and I know that it's a good TV show. And I tried that, and I'm like 5 minutes in, I'm like, I can't stand like I really love fast-paced stuff, and I can't enjoy the atmosphere, and so I'm like bam, 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 bam. I need it fast, I have a problem with my brain. I think. Oh, we only have 5 minutes left, so if you have questions, right? Tuesday. Oh, Tuesday times. Oh, I see. Tuesday, right? Okay. Yes. Some of your comments are funny. Oh, DD, thank you for your super chat. North Korea finally got 1 case of COVID. I know, right? What a lie. Maybe it's the first one after like hundreds of cases. I think that the citizens there are really suffering right now with the COVID, and like they closed the border, right? I wonder if it's まだ国境閉じたまま? Still remain closed, right? So I don't know how they are getting all the foods and all the things that they need for their daily life. So I'm sure that people are starving, and in addition to that, the virus is there, so that makes it worse. That if you have like a good immune system, you can fight it off, right? Or like even like in developed countries, we have problems too. So like just imagine North Korean people like lacking nutrition and getting infected by COVID-19. It's like, all I can imagine is like lots of death, My girlfriend is a practicing witch. What are your thoughts on Wicca? Wicca? What is Wicca? I know the word witch. I want to be a witch. What is this question? Why? Oh, I mean, does it? I thought like what? I misread Mobius's question. Why doesn't your dog live with you? Right? I read it as why does your dog live with you? I don't know why I misread that. Why doesn't? Because I actually bought my dog for my parents ahead of like, I knew that I was going to move out and so on eventually. And rather, I think my father kept complaining like, make child already. Like he wants grandchildren, but I didn't have a boyfriend for a while, so then I felt bad. And at the same time, we had a previous dog, like also Shiba, but like a regular Shiba, and he died after 16 years, and he died, and then my father kept crying and crying each night, and I got so saddened by his tears, So I'm like, you know what? We need a dog. And at the time, I was working like a normal person, so I had money, saved a little bit. So I spent so much money to get him. Like I know that you guys often get, those dogs at the I don't know, like the centers, but I went to the clothes store and got my dog and gave it to my parents. So my dog is living with my parents, not me. So sometimes I visit my parents' house, and that's when I have the reunion with my dog. And dog is Shiba, like so Japanese that at first he's like wigging, wigging, like he's so happy, right? But only when I come to the gate, and that's all. And after that, he's like, and just, I'm like, oh, Tanner, I want to touch you. He runs away. So, anyway. Okay. Heartwarming story. Thank you. Yeah, but in order to be, in order to be nice in this society, you have to have money. You can't even buy gifts for others if you're not rich enough. So, yeah. What's the dog's name? It's Taro. Taro, as in like, it's like in America that would be like John or what? Like very, very like familiar name like Mike or Jason or I don't know, popular name, and it's so like example name kind of thing, and I picked that because it's so cute. Anyway, it's an hour now, so I should go now. Wow. Sorry, I feel like I skipped a lot of questions in between. I talked too much. Maybe I should, shorten my answers and answer more. But thank you guys for joining me. It's been fun, and I think the time is set that every Sunday at noon. I mean Sunday noon here, so the time for you is like midnight, or I don't know, depending on where you are. It changes. It's so crazy that America has like time differences inside of one country. Like, that's just so crazy to me. Japan is only one, like Japan standard time period. But, so I'm gonna do like the time is set now. So this will be the time range. So I will always come around this time. So make sure to join me. Okay. So next week at the same time as today, we meet again. May we meet again is the phrase in 100. The TV series 100 is so good. I haven't watched the latest one yet, but thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Random Yoko. I will respond to you there. So have a great night for majority of you. Yeah, talk to you in a week. Okay, be well until then. Bye.